Yo, this is Afro, aka All Flows Reach Out, and you're listening to Built for This Network. Yes, sir. From the building, stay bomb.
Right. I'm glad you said it.
Hey, yeah, we're the same brothers from a long time ago. We was talking about television and doing it on the radio.
Even more.
What we did was to help our generation realize they got to get out there and get busy because it wasn't going to be televised. We got respect for young rappers and the way they freewaying. But if you're going to be teaching folks things, be sure you know what you're saying. Older folks in our neighborhood got plenty of know-how. Remember, if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be out there now. And I ain't coming at you with no disrespect. All I'm saying is that you damn well got to be correct. Because if you're going to be speaking for a whole generation and you know enough to try and handle their education, be sure you know the real deal about past situations and ain't just repeating what you heard on a local TV station. Sometimes they tell lies and put them in a truthful disguise. But the truth is, that's why we said it wouldn't be televised. They don't know what to say to our young folks, but they know that you do. And if they really knew the truth, why would they tell you? The first sign is peace. Tell all them gun-toting young brothers that the man is glad to see us out there killing one another. We raised too much hell when they were shooting us down, so they started poisoning our mind and trying to jerk us all around. And then they tell us they got to come in and control our situation. They want half of us on dope and the other half in incarceration. If the ones they want dead ain't killed by what they instigated, they can put some dope on the brother's body and claim it was drug-related. Tell them drug-related means there don't need to be no investigation, or at least that's the way they're gonna play it on the local TV station. All your 9mm brothers, give them something to think about. Tell them you heard that this is the new word. They got to work that stuff out. Because somehow they feeling the wrong way with a gun in their hands. They feeling real independent, but they just pulling contracts with a man. 5 and 5 will tell you it's hopeless out there on the avenue, but if they really knew the truth, why would they tell you? And if they look at you like you're insane and they start calling you scarecrow and say you ain't got no brain, or start telling folks that you suddenly gone lame, or that white folks have finally co-opted your game, or worse yet, implying that you don't really know, that's the same thing they said about us a long time ago. Young rappers, one more suggestion before I get out of your way. But I appreciate the respect you give me and what you got to say. I'm saying protect your community and spread that respect around. Tell brothers and sisters they got to calm that bullshit down, because we're terrorizing our old folks and we brought fear into our homes, and they ain't got to hang out with the senior citizens. Just tell them, damn it, leave the old folks alone. And we know who ripping off the neighborhood. Tell them that BS has got to stop. Tell them you're sorry they can't handle it out there, but they got to take the crime off the block. And if they look at you like they think you're insane, or start calling you scarecrow thinking you ain't got no brain, or start telling folks that you suddenly gone lame, or that white folks have suddenly co-opted your game, or worse yet, saying that you really don't know, that's the same thing they said about me a long time ago. And if they tell folks that you finally lost your nerve, that's the same thing they said about us when we said Johannesburg. But I think you young folks need to know that things don't go both ways. You can't talk respect on every other song or just every other day. What I'm speaking on now is the raps about the women folks. On one song, she's your African queen, and on the next one, she's a joke. And you ain't said no words that I haven't heard, but that ain't no compliment. It only insults 8 people out of 10 and questions your intelligence. 4-letter words or 4-syllable words won't make you a poet. It will only magnify how shallow you are and let everybody know it. And if they look at you like they think you're insane, or they call you scarecrow thinking you ain't got no brain, or start telling folks that you suddenly gone lame, or that the white folks have finally co-opted your game, or you really don't know, they said that about me a long time ago. If they finally start telling people that you lost your nerve, that's what they said about Johannesburg. You ain't insane. You have got a brain. You haven't gone lame. You have got your game. Remember, keep the nerve. Keep the nerve. Keep the nerve. Keep the nerve. We're talking about peace.
It's different. People think it's funny. Black folks think it's funny that they don't have Lord Life for this marriage. Like, yeah, see how funny that shit is in 6 months. Yeah.
Feeling myself, but I stay in my lane. I know you thinking you nice, but you sounding the same. He need to switch up his flow, but I know that he ain't. Shit, maybe he want to and probably can't. He talk a lot, but ain't saying a word. He's 16, sounding like he be lacing his herbs. Reggie Rock told me time to just focus and spit. Quit worrying about the niggas abandoning shit. I dropped broken and they told me quit biting your tongue. The way you writing sounded like you forgot where you from. Say you from the hood, but you sound like a minister now. Yeah, I could take it there, but shit, I just like how this sound. I should address some of this drama, but letting it go. Shit, I can't keep playing with you niggas, I'm getting too old. The last words Bone told me I never forget. Quit playing with this music and do it to death. Shit, I came back.
You're now watching the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy, hosted by your man, HRap B.
Good evening. This is your man, HRap B, coming at you live and direct. Thank you for tuning in. This is the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy, where I attempt to build up the community, destroy the lies and propaganda that surround our community. Thank you for tuning in. It's going to be an interesting show. As usual, I give respect to my ancestors as well as my family. Salute to my mother, Dolores, and salute to my father, John. I'm 50% Williams, 50% Pollard. They make up 100% of HRap B. Thank you for tuning in. Every week I ask three questions, and I start the show with 3 questions. The first question is this: what do we need? The second question is, what do we want? And the third question is, how do we get it? What I do is present information that is beneficial to us. First and foremost, it is the very last day of what we celebrate. I call it Black History Month. We celebrate Black history 365 days a year, every day on the End of the Bench. But today is the last official day of the celebration of Black history. A lot of people say the month is too short. A lot of people say it's the coldest month, things of that nature. That's because you've done very little to research these things, and I want to bring it to your attention. This is just like your birthday. You celebrate every day of your life. You celebrate every single solitary day of your life. But your birthday is actually the celebration of the day that you were born. It's not that you disregard the other days. It's just, hey, the day that you were born, that's when you celebrate your birth anniversary. So this is the anniversary of our people. This is the anniversary of the celebration of our people. This is the anniversary of our community. This is the birth of month of the celebration of the history of our community. So stop belittling what we have and celebrate what we have, and then you wonder why. Hey man, we don't get enough credit. We don't get this. It's because you're not taking advantage of the things that are in front of you to celebrate you, and only you can do it. So I need people to understand Black History Month is the celebration of our history starting after what some people call the Great Interruption. We have a whole set of history that is created on this side of the globe, and we celebrate that worldwide. We continue to celebrate this, and every other day we are living in Black history currently. Right now is Black history. So no, there is no specific time that you should celebrate Black history, but this is the time in which we take time out of our life to say, hey, we help put an indelible print on the United States of America and worldwide. So we're going to celebrate this at this time. We were emancipated way before June 19th. 1865, but we celebrate Juneteenth. We celebrate Easter. If you're a Christian, you celebrate the return of Christ, but you celebrate Christ and God every day. If you're a Muslim, you have Juma, so forth and so on. So do the same with the history of your culture. Celebrate it 365 days a year, but this is the commencement of the celebration, the month of February. Thank you. Now, we have an interesting show today. If you see the title, The Fight Has Started. That may be a bit standoffish for some people. Some people may not be comfortable with that. But the fight has started. The fight for your rights, the fight for your emancipation, for your consistent freedom, the fight for your indelible rights as human beings has started. What do I mean the fight has started? I'm going to start here in Chicago. Chicago, Illinois, today is election day. We are voting for aldermen, we're voting for state representatives, and we're voting for the mayor of Chicago. Personally, I voted today. It don't make a difference who I voted for. I voted for Lori Lightfoot. But even though I said it, it don't make a difference who I voted for. I actually voted. The reason it gives me the ability to make, basically, I'm taking a stand against the system. While we sit around and hem and haw about problems that we have, I've taken the necessary steps so I can address whoever is mayor, whoever is my alderman, whoever is my state representative. We've already elected the governor of the state. We already elected one of the state senators. And in 2 years, we elect the next one. We will either keep Tammy Duckworth in play or we'll replace her. This is what we have to do. That's just step one. Step two is engaging. People. This is something I wasn't even going to start off my show with this today, but I've alienated myself from the Facebook sphere, right? I no longer am active on Facebook because Facebook is, in my opinion, a bunch of whiners and criers. We have far too many people upset about everything in the history of the world, and they don't want to do anything about these complaints. And they complain on election day. First thing I saw was a person who considers themselves as an activist. This person stepped up and posted, we had a low voter turnout. Now, what I did was politely scroll through her page. I didn't see anything about voter registration. I didn't see anything about galvanizing her community. I didn't see anything about meeting with people in her community so they could take over the election process or they can engage with the election process. But you wait till election day, and then that's when you make your first post about poor voter turnout. This is why we're in the situation we're in. People, we wait to the last minute, or we want to sit back and complain from high up because I have information about things that you need to be doing and you need to engage in. What good does that do? Now you're the smartest guy in the room of people being oppressed. People, what we have to do is engage today, engage tomorrow, and continue to engage. This is an ongoing fight. This isn't a fight that stops today or stops. Okay, I voted for this guy and he got elected. Now you have to do, no, people don't do what you expect. They do what you inspect. They do what you inspect. If you don't pay attention to who you're voting for, if you don't pay attention to what's going on with the care of your city, how can anybody else do it? See, we sit around and we complain, this politician didn't do this, and this politician didn't do that. If I seem a bit distracted, it's because I was running late and I'm sending out notifications to the people who support me every week, so I'm not going to lose track of my thought. So please bear with my lack of engagement forward because I'm still actively sending out notifications. But back to what I was saying, it's easy to sit around and say what people don't do, what people haven't done, and what these people, the election, voting don't count, and voting ain't nothing. But guess what? It ain't nothing if you don't follow up. It's absolutely nothing if you don't follow up with the process. The process is to elect who you want, or don't. Don't put the person in place who you want, the person who you don't want in place. If they can, guess what? They are still civil servants. They are here to do your bidding. I don't care if this dude shows up in a Ku Klux Klan outfit. Guess what? Every call to their office is documented. And if they're not doing the will of the people, they're in violation of the Constitution of the United States of America, as well as the Constitution of your state. Did you even know that each state has its own constitution? These are the things that we must engage in. There are active people attacking your right to be a human being in the United States of America. And to be a human being, that means you are participating. The 15th Amendment said you have equal and fair rights to participate in everything that is eligible for a citizen to do. And if you're not doing it, why did people fight that war? So you wouldn't be enslaved. Why did people stand in line? Why are there some people who went over to the ancestral realm before they should have, standing in line, voting, being attacked, being subjugated, facing all sorts of tyranny, so you won't exercise your rights as a civilian? Civil rights have nothing to do with civil. It is civilian rights. If you, oh man, people didn't know. I'm not telling you people die for you to vote. I'm not going to give you that rigmarole. No. People die for you to have the opportunity to exercise the rights so you can be protected under the United States Constitution. That's why people die. Voting don't count. Well, if voting doesn't count, why is it that it's always a campaign so you won't take your black behind to the polls? How is it that something that is so innocuous always gets so many people's attention? Why? Oh, man, it's controlled by people that don't care about you. These people don't care about me or you. Well, okay, well, why are they always trying to take it from you? Explain that to me. If this means absolutely nothing, why are they trying to take it from you? Guess what? How many times people trying to, if most people don't carry cash in their wallet. How many times people trying to take the lint out your pocket? Nobody ever tries to do that because the lint out of your pocket isn't worth anything. The lint inside your pocket isn't worth a damn. Why ain't anybody trying to steal out your bank account when you only got a few $100 or a few $1,000s in it? Because it's not worth the penitentiary time that you would get if I steal a couple $100. A couple $100 means absolutely nothing to an actual criminal. I'm not going to spend 10 years in the federal penitentiary because I stole a couple $100 from you, because that is not important. But your vote is important. Your vote represents power. The fact that you don't exercise the power has nothing to do with the power that it represents. But guess what? You have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. You have people like Chris Christie. You have people like Governor Abbott in the state of Texas. You have these people who you may think, man, these guys are crazy. These guys are stupid. But you know what they are doing? They are voting, and then they're being elected, and they're doing the will of their party. They're subjecting themselves to the will of the party. What does that mean? The people in the party have an agenda, and they follow up with that agenda and follow all the party lines, and they get things taken away from women, like abortion, right to abortion. They get things. Look, show you how foolish this thing is. Mitt Romney actually created what we know as the Affordable Care Act and what is loosely known as Obamacare. Everybody loved it when Mitt Romney did it. Obama, he did it in the great state of Massachusetts. Everybody loved it. If he would have been elected, more than likely he would have enacted it. But when Barack Obama, they called it Obamacare. And you literally have video of people saying, I don't want no Obamacare, but I love the Affordable Care Act. That's because they are following their party lines. If you have that many people engaged against what you want to believe, they find things like Black Lives Matter, and then they come up with things called woke, and they have talking points against these things. Why is it that people are taking time out of their lives to create talking points against you and against people who are underserved if voting doesn't count? Because if voting don't count, I don't need to do this. Let's kill another trope. Black people don't vote. If black people don't vote, why is it that the Republican Party, led by one Donald J. Trump, literally came out with an edict? If we can get 13%, we had 13% of the black population. If we can get 17%, I could be reelected. Why is he paying attention to a group of people that does not vote? If we don't participate in the process, why are they paying attention to us? How many things you pay attention to that don't help you out in life? Well, that might be a poor question to ask in these times, because we live in the internet age and we do whatever we want to do. We whatever's popular, that's what we do. We don't really bother ourselves with the real details. We do what people are feeding us. So it might not be a good question to ask today, but for the most part, how many things are we paying attention to that don't help us? Not a lot of things, or we shouldn't be paying attention to a lot of things that are not helping us. And why do we not do that? Because those things are not beneficial to us. But yet still, we allow each other to say, hey, man, we don't vote because they're not going to do anything for us. They don't really have to do anything for you because you've already talked yourself out of success by saying what is and what is not going to happen to you. So why do we need to do anything for you? Because you already defeated yourself before the fight started. You took a L before the fight even started, but you want people to fall in love with you and do what you want to do. And my favorite line is, they know what we want. Well, and then, but those same people that'll say they know what you want when it comes to them doing something for you. Well, you didn't ask me. A closed mouth don't get fed. How many people heard that? That's something that we hear all the time. See, we say these things, we drop these tropes, we make these bromites, and it don't mean anything because we don't even believe the things that we're saying to each other. So again, if voting doesn't count, why is there such a groundswell around voting? City of Chicago, we're going through a transitional stage. Lori Lightfoot is fighting against the machine. My personal pick. You don't have to like Lori Lightfoot. We don't have to like anybody the same. But what I have noticed is this. Lori Lightfoot was given a situation that has been corrupt in my entire life. I can only think of a 4-year period in my life that the city wasn't 100% corrupt. And that was during the reign of one Harold Washington. Harold Washington, he had an untimely death and things went back to normal. Harold Washington made it, he destroyed what was called the Chicago machine. What is the Chicago machine? It is a group of people who had a stranglehold on the politics in Chicago. You had white guys running Latino neighborhoods. You had white guys running black neighborhoods. You had white guys running Asian neighborhoods. Yes, we have very segregated cities, so it does count. Nobody who was part of that community was able to represent the city council, automatic rural races, state representatives, nothing. Your culture had no bearing on the governing of your state. And since then, he was replaced by one brother from the south side of Chicago, God rest his soul, Gene Sawyer. And since then, Richard Daley, the second Richard Daley's son, took over. Then Rahm Emanuel took over. And now Lori Lightfoot. She's the first person, in my personal opinion, who's not been a part of the actual system, who's been mayor of Chicago since one Harold Washington. And everybody, oh man, she's not doing this. Well, she was handed a bag of garbage. Now, all of a sudden, in 4 years, you want her to turn it into a gourmet meal. And again, I asked the question. I'm forced to ask the questions. How engaged are you in the government of Chicago? How engaged are you in the community, in the governance of your community, in the governance of your districts, and just the governance of the Black community? How engaged are you? So if you're not that engaged, I'm going to need you to give Sister Lightfoot some slack. Or whoever's in office, if she's no longer in office, give them some pressure. See, it's easy to see, and don't turn it up because it's her. Oh man, the school's messed up. The school's been messed up since I've been in schools. When Dr. Ruth Love took over the schools in 1984, when I was going to high school, and she said everybody had to graduate. You couldn't graduate from the city of Chicago without a foreign language. And you're looking at a dude with a college education who didn't take any foreign languages in high school. Yeah. So I want to hear about what Miss Lightfoot has done, Sister Lightfoot has done, and the rest of these people ain't doing anything anyway. But again, voting is necessary. Why is it necessary? Because library boards. Let me start off at the beginning. Let me start off at the very beginning. Library boards, school boards, city council, mayor of the city, state representatives, governors. Look at your news programs. And again, we're going to have to get engaged. I don't want to hear any more adult people from my community. Or you can say it if you want to. You can say whatever. You can make your mouth say whatever you want. Just don't say it to me, because I'm a block. I'm blocking people with that foolish mentality. I am. I'm not talking to you about anything. If you got it all figured out and you know it's not going to happen, don't talk to me about it. Don't, hey man, I saw your program rap and this, that, and the third, because I'm going to walk away from, I'm going to be mad, disrespectful, and walk away from you mid-sentence. I'm keeping it real with you. But we can have a disagreement, but don't talk to me about the system and the man and not. No, I'm not doing none of that anymore. I'm not engaging anymore with that kind of rhetoric. But you can turn on the news, and I'm gonna need folks to start watching the news. The news depressing. Yeah, it is. It is, because we're not doing anything. It's only depressing because, you don't even have to turn on the news. Download Haiti, the app called Haiti. It is a multitude of Black media, and it is genuine. It is actual journalism happening on that app. And read up on what you need to read on, whether it's world news, local news, entertainment news, sports news, political news, or whatever. Everything is on that app. So if you're tired of the rigmarole of CNN, because CNN is leaning things to where they want to see it, Fox and the other channels leaning to what they want to say, you want to get somewhere in the middle. And I do believe the app Haiti, that's how you pronounce it. Shout out to my man, Odin Polynese, friend of the show. Haiti, the app Haiti, they're giving out real news, and point blank period, we need to start engaging in that. Because if you want to argue about, like I'll just argue with my little bro from the hood, Roger, on Twitter today about LeBron James and Charles Barkley and whatever. It's fun. It's what I do to entertain myself. But if life ain't about having a good time all the time. I understand, look, I'm 52 years old, 52 and a half years old to be exact, 52 and a half years old to be exact. And I understand the news can get on your nerves, the violence, the rhetoric, the constant propagandized news. Chicago's violent. By the way, the most violent city in the United States, the state in the United States of America is Alaska. Yeah, Alaska. Alaska got the most violence going on. Not Chicago, not Cleveland, not Detroit, not LA, not Atlanta, not where the bros and not Baltimore. Alaska. How many bros up there? Okay, back to the point. As I was stating, we're looking at a situation to whereas we're not engaging. The only way we're going to turn this thing around is to engage. You have people telling you that the study of your culture is illegal. Governor DeSantis down there in Florida made it illegal to teach advanced placement, AP, advanced placement, African-American studies. That's cool to me, because you know what? You're not going to get if you're going to give me the advanced placement test and I don't have to take it and I get college credit for it, it's going to save me some money. But you know what? I'm not going to learn what I would have learned at Howard University, at Ohio State University, at Cal Berkeley, at University of Alabama, DePaul University, and African American Studies class. I'm not. One of my favorite radio hosts, her name is, she's an attorney. She's the president. She's the leader of the Center of Law and Justice in Brooklyn, New York. Larry Daniel Favors. She went to Ohio State University, Penn State University, and studied African American Studies. And she on point like Trick Dice. So you're not going to get the education that you would have got at the greatest high school in the history of the world at a university. Period. I'm cool with it, but I'm not cool with it, because you're going to tell me it's illegal for me and my children to learn about their history at an advanced level? That's insane. Oh, see, and then you got people on the woke movement. He actually has a bill called the Stop Woke Movement. The Stop Woke. All that it means, people don't even know what woke means. Just like when you walk up to people and ask them about critical race theory, a graduate degree, a graduate level college course. So you can't even, I wasn't even eligible as a college educated man. If I went on to get my master's degree, then I can go get that class, which isn't an elective. It isn't even assigned. I have to ask for the class, and they're talking about it. But the average ding-dong that they walk up to and stick a microphone in his face and say, I'm against CRT, critical race theory, that's wrong. I don't want to talk nobody talking about critical race theory. Really? What is it about? I don't know. Do you understand how stupid you allow yourself to sound when you're anti-critical race theory? You don't even know what critical race theory is. Critical race theory is the in-depth study of the history of the United States of America. If we don't want to teach the history of the United States of America, don't talk to me about George Washington. Don't talk to me about Abraham Lincoln. Don't talk to me about Thomas Jefferson, child molester, enslaver, liar, talking about he had a love affair with a 13-year-old enslaved African. That is an all-time lie. But don't talk to me about none of this stuff, because the next time, this is what you do. If you're ever in a public setting and somebody starts talking about if they talk about anti-critical, if they express an anti-critical race theory rhetoric and anti-critical race theory, anything, or anti-African American studies, and they don't want to talk about the history because it may hurt their children's feelings, because you've actually had people from the European descent or white folks, because ain't really no such thing as white and black. You're only black because you're in America. When you go to Europe, when you go to Africa, when you go to South America, when you go to Canada, you're not black, you're an American. But that's neither here nor there. Back to the point. When you are having these conversations with people and you hear somebody say, well, we don't want to teach critical race theory because it may hurt our children's feelings. We don't want our children to feel uncomfortable. That's cool. Well, this is what I want you to do. I'm Muslim now. Okay? I'm Muslim now. I don't hear nothing else about 9/11 because I don't want my kids' feelings hurt. Oh, but we can talk about that all day, huh? Well, guess what? I'm Jewish now. I don't want to talk about the Holocaust no more either. Oh, we got to talk about that. Well, we're going to talk about the fact that in 1415, Pope Marcus said it was legal to capture my ancestors, put them on a boat, bring them throughout the Western Hemisphere and Europe, and sell them, as well as the people in the on the Arab Peninsula. They said it was cool too. So if we can't talk about all the pain, we can't talk about any of the pain. But everybody want to make sure their pain is announced. Everybody want empathy and feeling for their pain, but you don't want to empathize with me and my people. So miss me with that nonsense again. This is why voting is necessary, because you got people like this goofball, Marjorie Taylor Greene, college educated person, which is proof positive that all a college education means is that you can regurgitate facts at the end of the week that a professor told you, and then you can re-regurgitate those facts at the end of a semester when you take an exam, and you can form a series of sentences regurgitating other people's opinions about historic facts and fiction. That's all a college education means. You are not intelligent because you have a college education. You're informed. But that does not mean you're intelligent. You know what intelligence is, in my opinion? That intelligence is the practical application of those facts and dates and those data points. The practical application of that. That's what it is. That's what being intelligent is. Because you can read every book in the library, all the books that's behind me, every book in every library in the history of the world, and be dumb as a box of rocks. Understand that. Because if you don't know how to apply that traditional knowledge to everyday life, it's pointless. It is pointless. Marjorie Taylor Greene has literally started a movement. Look, I'm going to show you how I told you this is a game plan. They have demonized woke. They have demonized the education of our young people about our culture. Oh, it's the woke movement. Woke just means aware. Look, in 1991, my homeboy Drastic, shout out to Draz. Draz gave me this book. It was about this thick. It's the very first time in my life I ever sat down and read. I was in the house. I'll never forget it in my life. It was it was May of 1991. He graduated in 1990, so it was May of 1991. He gave me this book. He said, man, B, check this book out. It's hard. Start reading the book. My mother kept calling me. Brian, I need you to do this. She maybe run this store, maybe run here, maybe run that, clean this, do that. I read about 2 chapters of the book. I'm enthralled in the book, right? Next thing you know, I get tired of my mother asking me to do stuff. I do everything she asks me to do, and I bounce. I go to the beach, North Avenue Beach. I read this book it was like 19 chapters in this book. I read the entire book about this thick, man. And everything in that book was true. Everything in that book was true. One of the things in that book, the reason I keep bringing up that book is it said your enemy will present the truth to you. It's up to you to disseminate that information and use it to your benefit. We see this every day. We see this every day. Why is voting important? That was the topic at hand at the beginning of the program. Voting is important simply because you have people like Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert a state representative for the state of Colorado. This lady does not have a college education. This lady does not have a high school education. She has a GED. Nothing wrong with people with GEDs. Some of the smartest people in the history of the world didn't even go to college. Talk to your grandfather for a little while. Talk to one of your elders that wasn't able to graduate from high school, wasn't able to graduate from college, had to stop. These are some of the most intelligent, and as my man Jan Shabazz has put in there, wise people in your life. Academics does not make you intelligent, but she is in the House of Representatives of the United States of America pushing anti-Black rhetoric. And that's why voting is important, because if they can put this buffoon in office, a complete moron, and I'm saying that way purposely, she's a moron. All she's doing is showing up, taking orders from people who are far more intelligent than her, far more wise than she is, and she's just going along with the program. So, folks, why don't we get some people who are vastly more intelligent than her and galvanize with other communities and move and push forward our agenda? Because if you think the history of your people is not important, you are outside your freaking mind. See, this is why you can have people from other cultures that look like us, like from the continent, from the Caribbean, from South America, from Canada, and they can look at people like us and go, oh man, they lazy. They're not taking advantage of the opportunities that have been afforded to them, because they know their history and they know the struggle. See, when you know the struggle of your parents, when you know the struggle of their parents, and you know the struggle of their great-grandparents, then you will take things far more seriously than you actually do today. See, when you understand that my pops got hit in his head in the streets fighting for the liberation of his people, it does not allow me to just be kiki, ha, silly Brian all the time. When I'm off here, I might be flat out one of the silliest cats in the country in its time. But I also have to understand that I have a group of people that's going to depend upon me. It's people in my life that I'm going to take care of no matter what. And I need you to understand that there's people out there that feel the only way that they can take care of their people is to subjugate you and people who are in your geo-social political status. Because again, race is a made-up construct. You are only a black man because somebody said you were. You're only a light-skinned person because somebody said you were. You are a human being and they are human beings. And once you get this, once you realize that everybody that looks like you ain't like you, and you can gain from each and every individual that walks the face of the earth, whether it's positive, whether they live in a positive realm or a negative realm, that's when you'll be able to excel and prevail. Look, I'm not here to tell you, hey man, the white man is holding me back. But what I am telling you is this: as we live in these United States of America, this criminal enterprise called the United States of America, we, as people that look like this and people who are of a certain financial stature, need to galvanize and move forward and push forward and get things out of our way so we can live comfortable lives. It is not an every 4-year situation. It's not an every 6-year situation. It's not an every 2-year situation. It is a everyday struggle. Because the people on the other side who are diametrically opposed to you having peace, they are organized and they're ready to fight. They are organized and they are ready. They are fighting. They are not ready to fight. Excuse me. They are not ready to fight. They are fighting. And if you think voting don't count, I have one statement to make before I show you this bit about health that I told you I'm adding health and wellness to the program. Before I get to health and wellness, I want you to understand this. They are shortening the leash on housing. They are shortening the leash on education. They are shortening the leash on assistance, governmental assistance. This is the blueprint of one Adolf Hitler. And if you don't understand why I'm referencing Adolf Hitler, this is not a Kanye West kind of situation. I'm referencing Adolf Hitler because he was elected into office. Adolf Hitler was elected into office by less than 2% of the people. 2% of the people. He turned less than 2% of the people against a whole culture of people. Oh, by the way, he killed the interracial people first, and then he killed the black Jews, and then he went for the white Jews. So again, if you knew that, you would understand the subjugation of your people is par for the course, and you will understand the danger, the imminent danger that you're in by not paying attention to governmental structure. With that being said, here's some more imminent danger that you're in if you don't pay attention to your health. I put this video, I'm posting this video, I'm going to play this video. I'll be back shortly. This is the end of the bench. This is HRap B. I'll be back shortly. Even longer now. Ain't that a...
Welcome. I want to share with you how you can cleanse your kidneys of those excessive toxins as well as keep it healthy. Our kidneys play a tremendous role throughout our entire bodily system, working with all the other organs. And the main function of your kidneys is to cleanse the blood of those toxins and to transfer the waste into urine. And there are so many people out there who are living on refined processed foods that's causing lots of damage, lots of inflammation. And if you're adding a tremendous amount of salt to your foods, you're putting stress on your kidneys as well. And there are many things that we have control right now that can reverse kidney disease as well as keeping your kidneys healthy for a lifetime. And I'd like to share with you these specific foods and things that you can do to keep your body healthy. Grapes are known to do wonderful things for your kidneys, as grapes contain resveratrol and has protective effects against both acute and chronic kidney injuries through the antioxidant effects and ability to activate SIRT1. And the National Kidney Foundation says that just drinking 1 glass of grape juice or approximately 15 grapes a day can do wonderful things for your kidneys. And cranberries benefit both the urinary tract and kidneys as they contain phytonutrients called A-type proanthocyanidins, which prevent bacteria from sticking to the lining of the urinary tract and bladder, thus preventing infections. And don't forget about your citrus fruits. They're loaded with vitamin C, and that will better the kidneys. And many of you already know how powerful the lemon is. Those citric acid fruits will break down and prevent kidney stones. And drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning with a nice squeeze of lemon in it does wonderful things, not only for your kidneys, but for your whole digestive system, as well as cleansing your liver. And your berries, your strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, and particularly those blueberries have powerful antioxidant effects. They all have anti-inflammatory effects. And those powerful properties that they carry can inhibit cancer cell growth and tumor formation. And your extra virgin olive oil are exceptionally good for your kidneys. And it's the oleic acid in olive oil that lowers heart disease, lowers cholesterol, lowers the formation of plaquing that can occur within the arteries. It lowers blood pressure, which puts less stress and damage to your kidneys. And eat your omega-3s, commonly found in salmon, tuna, herring, sardine, mackerel, as well as your flaxseed, chia seeds, and walnuts. Those omega-3s are so good for your cardiovascular system as well as your brain. Those omega-3s will reduce inflammation throughout the entire body as well as those kidneys. And don't forget your water, because water is the most important drink for the body. 60 to 65% of our body is made up of water. The cells within your body uses water to transport toxins into the bloodstream. And the kidneys then use the water to filter these toxins out and to create the urine that transport them out of the body. And I cannot stress how important it is that you continue to hydrate all the time, even if you do not feel thirsty. Why? because many times our brain tells us too late that if you're in warm, humid, hot weather, you're losing fluid and you may not feel thirsty, but your organs and your cells needs it for many reasons. Now, here is something important. When you first get up in the morning, your urine is going to be darker because you're more dehydrated. But during the day, if you notice that your urine is too dark yellow, that means that you are dehydrated and you must start drinking more water, and you will see your urine become much lighter. And one of my favorite fruits is the apple. Apples are filled with pectin. Pectin is soluble fiber. That soluble fiber keeps you full. It helps regulate your blood sugar levels. It's just so healthy for you. It will actually lower your bad cholesterol. But when it comes to the health of your kidneys, apples can do wonderful things. And eat your onions and garlic, even if it's sauteed. Scientists have discovered that by eating more onion and garlic regularly, this will reduce the risk of 64% of cardiovascular disease, 32% of chronic kidney disease, and 25% in hypertension compared to those that ate less of them. And don't forget your fermented foods. That is your microbiome, your gut. That works directly with your immune system to keep you healthy and strong, as well as all other systems in your body. And you can get this good bacteria from your yogurts, your kefir, your sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, kombucha, as well as other fermented foods. So let's review together some very important things to keep those kidneys healthy. 1, hydration, getting rid of toxins. Preventing your body from becoming dehydrated, very important. Exercise, increasing blood supply throughout your entire body and oxygen to all parts of your body, especially those kidneys. Walking, running, cycling, or even dancing, or any other type of exercise that you enjoy. And please monitor your weight. If you're carrying around more visceral fat, you notice that things aren't feeling right, that extra visceral fat puts a tremendous burden on your sugar levels, as well as your insulin and your kidneys. Remember, too much visceral fat can lead to metabolic syndrome, and that is something that can really cause many, many problems. So get serious, cut out those excessive refined carbs, start adding more fiber to your diet, which will slow the absorption and digestion of the sugars into the cells, as well as slow digestion from your stomach into the small intestine. You'll have more satiety, you'll have more energy, you won't feel like you're going to have that sudden collapse of energy throughout the day. You're going to feel much better, much stronger, and much more energetic. And lastly, just try to get more hours of sleep if you're not. At least 6.5 to 8 hours. When we're not sleeping enough, our cells are not rejuvenating. It's putting our body under more stress. We then start secreting more cortisol, which is our stress hormone. We continually secrete more of those stress hormones, which can lead to high blood pressure, which can affect our kidneys even more. Remember that diabetes, as well as high blood pressure, are the 2 most common things that affect our kidneys. So it's so important that we start eating correctly, exercising, keeping a positive attitude, getting our sleep, hydrating, and doing all the proper things so we can keep our body healthy, so we can live a joyful and happy life. I hope you enjoyed this video. May I ask you to please share it with your friends and family. Leave your comments below, and most important, make it a great day. I'm Dr. Alan Mandel.
Thank you for tuning in. This is your man, HRap B. This is the End of the Bench podcast, where we build and destroy. I attempt to build a community, destroy the lies and the propaganda surrounding the community. As I said, every week I'm going to add health and wellness to this, because it don't make us do any good to get this information that's invaluable, information that'll help our community be the best community it can be, and then you keel over and die. It does you no good. You don't. Your significant other needs you here. Your children need you here. Your family needs you here. I need you here. Your friends need you here. Nobody. We're tired of seeing people die. We're sick and tired of seeing people transition into the ancestral realm because they have nothing else available to them but stress chaos, poor food, poor diet, and then dealing with all this nonsense. Back to the topic at hand. As I was stating, man, voting, and I want to thank everybody in the chat room. I don't want to go through the thing and name out people individually. Thank you in the chat room. Thank you for the people who hit the thumbs up. Thank you for the people who are watching on www.theendofthebench.com. Thank you for subscribing. It is greatly appreciated. But again, we are in the midst of a war. We are. Your peace. People are at war for your peace. We spoke about this last night on BS Street Network on a program that I do called The Forecast. We talk about the amenities that have been taken away from you. When those amenities are taken away from your natural ability to cope, art, sciences, cooking, things of that nature. They took those things out of the school. Culinary arts, the actual arts, the visual arts, the singing, the dancing, the music, the thespianism, the creativity that you get from science and things of that nature. Those programs were cut. They were cut for specific reasons because those are outlets to stress and pressure and chaotic situations. You can lose yourself in the arts. If you have a stressed out day, you can go blow on your horn. You can go write a song. You can go dance. You will be able to move your mind as well as your physical to get rid of that anxiety that sits in your body and kills you. And there are people who are systematically attempting to remove these things from your everyday struggle, day after day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as I referenced her earlier, Marjorie Taylor Greene, people scoff at her because the things that she is saying, according to the social structure, is insane. Oh man, what is she talking about? Divorcing states from the government. She sounds foolish. Yeah. I wonder, was she sounding foolish around 1840, 1845, 1850? No, because they called that the Confederate. The Confederacy, that's what they call it. They had the Confederacy when people rescinded from the government and they created their own country. But here's the ironic part. Some of the states that are red states, like the great state of Mississippi, the great state of Kentucky, the great state of Alabama, for every dollar they give the government gives them more than $2 back. So can they really afford to rescind from the country? No, they can't. And that's why what she's saying on the surface is asinine. But what she's doing is actually using what they're called political dog whistles. What is a political dog whistle? She's saying things that me and you will go, she sounds foolish. That's nonsense. I'm not going to pay attention to her. But the people who she's talking to, they're resonating with them. If you don't want your children to be taught certain things about the LGBTQ, then you won't pay attention to these people right here. We don't want our kids to think, and then people who have issues with the LGBTQ, they go, she's making sense. But they're not looking at the big picture, that the government is basically, that state is on welfare. The state of Kentucky is on federal welfare. The whole state, not the people, the state. Because they give the government $1 and the government gets, like, I think the last time I checked it was $2.18 they get back. So, all that socialism that these people like Marjorie Taylor Greene is against, the state of Kentucky is participating in socialism because states like New York, states like California, states like Texas, states like Florida, with a whole lot of tourism, a whole lot of entertainment value, money that's being poured into those states, New York City, a financial center of the United States of America. Money's being created in those states, entertainment, vacation, things of that nature. Money, due to lack of state tax, a lot of industry goes to Texas, so they get those tax breaks. And then that money that they're sending out of Texas, they're sending it to places like Kentucky. The people that's going, yeah, I'm sick of that gay stuff. But if you don't like LGBTQ, don't be LGBTQ. How about that? If you don't like gay, don't be gay. If you don't like trans, don't change your gender. It's easy. I don't like cheesecake. I've never eaten it. It just don't appeal to me. I don't eat it. I've never had a slice. I had that slice, I don't know. Allegedly, my mom made the greatest cheesecake in the world. My mom made his, I won't ever know, will I? But back to the point. When she makes these statements, and then when we don't want our kids being taught being woke. Woke is learning about black people, learning about the subjugation of black people, learning about the rape of black people, learning about the tyranny that has been thrust upon the black community. We don't want them to feel bad. Well, we don't want our children to feel bad. Why would they feel bad if you've done it? Maybe you learn your past so you won't repeat your past. It creates a path of righteousness. It teaches you how not to do things wrong. Like let's go with Jesus. Somebody start talking about God, you don't nail them to a cross. How about that? You don't do that. If somebody starts creating things and doing righteous things, you don't kill them. How about that? Black people need to get up off their butts and stop being so lazy. Well, we did that all throughout the country. You put interstates and burned it down. You literally dropped a bomb on our town. We need to have our own thing. We did that, and you turned it in. You turned Seneca Park into Central Park, New York City. How about that? But again, see, you teach these things so the next generation won't be as ignorant and as destructive and as dismissive of another culture that they're not a part of. Not to make people feel bad. Just like when you are dealing with your cousin, hey man, when you and your homies used to talk about my big nose, I didn't really like that. Well, you don't talk about his nose anymore. You don't not talk about the pain that you put somebody through. When somebody introduces the pain, you apologize for the pain and you move forward. That's why we're in this. The United States is running on a treadmill because we don't want to address what happened in the past. We don't want to address it. We don't really want to deal with that. It's just messed up. Marjorie Taylor Greene even went as far as talking about schools. Well, we don't want certain things. We don't want the woke thing taught in our schools. We don't want CRT taught in our schools. Well, we don't want the true history of the United States of America taught in our schools. So at that point, we are never guilty of the crimes that we committed. And if we're never guilty, we can minimize what Black people are talking about. If we minimize it, that's why you have people from other cultures looking at Black people like, hey, man, why y'all whining? Because they don't realize that. Let's just go to the 80s. Let's not go to the 1880s, the 1780s. Let's go to the 1980s. If you don't know that Oliver North sat on national television for about a month and a half on every day, in the middle of the day, every channel was tuned in to Oliver North in the Iran-Contra trial, and he admitted that him and George H.W. Bush and other people and high-ranking officials of the CIA put crack cocaine in the cities of the United States of America. It's not just a TV show called Snowfall. They admitted to it. They want to fund the Contras to fight the Sandinistan guerrillas and the Iran. And they got guns to the Iranian people and things of that nature. They funded that through crack cocaine that was put in the community, and those programs were put upon, and then the academic programs were taken away. Say no to drugs, but say yes to chaos and criminality. And Oliver North is a multi-millionaire right now. I think last time I checked, I read something that he's worth $200 million after poisoning inner cities throughout the United States of America and formally putting this on the Black community. Well, just about everybody who will ever hear me speak about this has someone in their family or a friend who's been subjected to the tyranny of the crack cocaine virus that was spread purposely throughout the Black community in the United States of America. So we don't want to teach that. We want just Black folks to be seen as criminals and lazy people and people who don't care about anything. And see, because they don't care about anything, they'll do anything. Since they'll do anything, they're subjected to the tyranny of white America. And if they're subjected to the tyranny of white America, who's going to care about the Black people? Because they're just lazy. So it's okay for you to spread a lie, Miss Taylor Greene, but it's not okay for the truth to be told. She even commented, see, this is how they backdoor things. She commented about what is known as Black Hollywood. The red state of Georgia at the time afforded tax breaks for people who were creating films. But what she didn't see was one gentleman by the name of Tyler Perry and other people creating Black Hollywood down there, creating stories about what happened in the community, like Till, like emancipation and things of that nature, and telling the stories of our community and showing you the tyranny that we've been subjected to. Oh, man, I don't want to see any more slave movies. Okay, let's get this out the way. You don't want to see any more slave movies. People probably think it's hundreds of slave movies been made. No, It has been 52 slave movies made in the United States of America as of this very moment. 52. Movies have been a big thing for at least 52 years that I've been living, so it ain't been that many movies. But you're not sick of seeing gangbanger TV shows. You ain't sick of drug dealing TV shows. You ain't sick of none of that. How many reality shows have we had in the last 5 to 10 years? I bet you've been at least 52 of those. But you're sick of seeing slave movies. You're sick of seeing what has been done to your people, so you can never happen again. Now, it is a common trope for my people to go, like these people. See, we need to be moving like them. Have you ever heard any Jewish people say, man, I don't make no more Schindler's List? No, you haven't. You haven't. And you never will, because the acknowledgement of that pain, to bring it to the forefront of that pain, lets you know, hey, people don't like me, and I need to be ready to fight at all time, academically and physically. Academically and physically. That's why when you understand that some of the greatest minds in history of the world were in the 1800s, when you have people like Langston Hughes, one of the greatest writers of all time, his grandfather was in the first Black Expo talking about reparations in the 1840s. W.E.B. Du Bois, one of the greatest minds in the history of the United States, in the history of the world, his grandfather was at that same expo. So it's not happenstance that these people, their lineage continues to put out greatness. It's not happenstance. See, but when you don't learn about these things, you don't understand what's in front of you, you don't understand what's behind you. But back to what Marjorie Taylor Greene was saying about Black Hollywood. When they start making movies about being woke and about the woke movement and about LGBTQ, first of all, I've yet to see the all-gay movie. And you know what? It was one movie that I could think of. I mean, it's probably a million of them out there. But the one movie that comes to mind that was highly touted about LGBTQ was Brokeback Mountain, and there wasn't no brothers in that. And that wasn't made in Atlanta. That was made in Hollywood. But anyway, her real issue is not the kinds of movies that they're making. Not the fact that people are coming to Georgia and making movies and they're going to poison our children with this LGBTQ and woke thing. What it is you have billionaires and millionaires being created in the state of Georgia, making movies, creating stories, and bringing wealth to the Black community, awakening us and empowering us. That's what she wants. She even made the statement of, well, one way to resolve this is a lot of people are leaving these blue states because they can't live there. Now people living because of the climate, leaving because of the climate. People, still the largest percentage of Black people still live between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mississippi River. The South still holds the most amount of Black people. Understand that. Below the Mason-Dixon line, the Atlantic Ocean, Mississippi River, that's where most Black people live. In the United States of America, in the South, we still live there. But she said, if you move from a blue state to a red state, because I'm tired of this cold in Chicago, it ain't because I want to be down there in the South. It's warm down there. I'm a tropical human being. I'm genetically predisposed to want to be warm. It ain't got nothing to do with what's going on with your politics. No. But how about this, folks? If you vote the right people in office, you won't. This same Marjorie Taylor Greene, who cares about the people, and I love people, but voting against additional SNAP benefits, voting against the housing referendum that had people being homeless. You want people to be out in the street and you want people to be hungry. Meanwhile, inflation is going up. Wages are staying stagnant. And, there's all these jobs out here. I need to work too to get to eat. No. It's not going to work that way. But it's the way to beat Miss Green. It's the way to beat Miss Green. You need to get up, get off your butt, get engaged. Oh, man, I ain't got time to do that. But you got time for Xbox. You got time for the NBA Finals. You got time for the All-Star Game. You got time to watch podcasts like this. Keep watching, please. See you next Tuesday. See you tomorrow night, 8:30, me and BJ. But you got time to do everything that you want to do. But now it's time to make time to do things that you need to do. Because the only reason she hates that Black Hollywood is in Georgia is because Black people are doing it. Let's Be honest. And then you had a lot of people, what the CNN, MSNBC, CBS, and all these new outlets. Oh, she's crazy. They put a whole bunch of white people on TV saying she's crazy. But is she? Is she crazy? She is not crazy, because there were 75 million people that listened to one Donald J. Trump. Oh man, HRap, just like Kanye, you ain't really listening to what he's saying. Donald Trump gave more money to HBCUs than even Obama. Obama only gave $4 million. He gave $54 million. Well, guess what? Joe Biden just gave $250 million. Oh, you didn't know that, because they didn't say that on Fox, did they? They ain't say that on NBC or MSNBC. They ain't say that any of those places. And that's why you need to keep tuning in here. And that's why you need to go to Haiti and download their app so you can understand what's going on. Oh, Trump hooked up the HBCUs. No, he didn't, because there was a bill signed by a sister by the name of Alma Adams in the late 1980s. And that is what they keep extending that bill. Donald Trump didn't do that. Obama signed it, Trump signed it, and Homeboy gonna sign it before he leave too. But Trump actually didn't sign it. Biden signed it. So, Kamala Harris, she ain't really down for the black people. I ain't trying to kick with Kamala Harris. I don't want to be a home girl. I don't want her to be my homie. I don't want her to call me tonight. I don't want to hang out with her. I don't want to do none of that. I don't want to hang out with none of these politicians, but I need you to do your freaking job. And your freaking job is to make sure, and then see, this is how you know your job. Let me finish that thought. Your job is to make sure these people don't put you in a box, whether it be a horizontal box or a vertical box. A horizontal box means tell God I said hi, and a vertical box means you're put in a situation where you cannot move. You cannot move. You can't make moves until somebody said. Then you living in a perpetual game of Mother May I. That's what it is. Brothers and sisters, ladies, gentlemen, haters, and better friends. This is what I'm talking about. We need to get up and get involved. You have time. Oh man. See, I actually had somebody, man, yo, HRap, watching your show is like being at an assembly. He one of the stupidest people I know. And I hope he looking, because I know he know who I'm talking about. One of the stupidest people I know, because this ain't an assembly. This is information so your children, because look, I'm 50. I got about 35, 40 more summers in this thing. But I'm going to have grandchildren one day, and they're going to have grandchildren one day. And I'm just trying to make peace so they can have some room. They tricked us into this whole situation and making us believe things are not what they are, but they are what they are. Now, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to engage? Or you not? If you're not going to engage, I understand. Me and mine, we getting passports. I'm finna get somebody a passport this summer. My children already have passports. We gonna get her children passports. We might have to hat up, because if y'all ain't gonna do nothing, I ain't standing around for the fight and lose the fight. And at the end of the day, it ain't really no place we can run and be safe from this anarchy. But I guarantee you this, after I show you this video, this history video, I guarantee you this. If everybody who ever listened to this got 10 people to register to vote, get a passport, and get the permission to carry or own a firearm, I guarantee you things are lighting up around here. I want you to take a peek in history, and I'll be right back to wrap up the show.
Popularly known as Great Zimbabwe. Popularly known as Great Zimbabwe was a stratified African culture that existed in the modern-day country of Zimbabwe, beginning about the 12th century. This African civilization received plaudits from foreign observers who considered their stone structures so impressive that African parentage was out of the question. It seems as though the Shona elite, the actual founders of Great Zimbabwe, accomplished their goal in creating a space that evoked majesty and splendor. The marvelously built stone edifices were the center of a flourishing gold trade that produced massive amounts of wealth for the Shona kings. Moreover, these large stone structures were built without mortar, adding to its uniqueness. The Portuguese, upon their arrival in the 16th century, considered it an accomplishment of the legendary Queen of Sheba. Cecil Rhodes and his followers even drew parallels between the African structures and the ancient Greek Acropolis. However, despite the cries of genuine scholarship, which illustrated an African origin, the socio-political lore of Great Zimbabwe and its implications rested on foreign origins. Great Zimbabwe was undoubtedly a great African achievement founded by the Shona peoples. But what was its origins? It's difficult to imagine that the Shona people woke up one day and decided to build these elaborate structures. History has a tendency not to work that way. The general consensus seems to be that Great Zimbabwe arose from an earlier civilization known as Mapungubwe. Mapungubwe was located south of Great Zimbabwe, where the Shashi and Limpopo River meet. According to one scholar named Thomas Huffman, in regards to territory and social complexity, Mapungubwe was Southern Africa's first state. Other scholars give important information regarding this society. The Mapungubwe cultural landscape is a significant site because it is associated with the development of socio-political complexity in Southern Africa. The evolution of the state at Mapungubwe was a gradual development which began during the 11th century to probably the 14th century and beyond. Now, the 11th century date is in reference to a region called K2, which was a site near Mapungubwe and whose leaders eventually left to go reside at the Mapungubwe hilltop site. Once there, they only stayed for a brief time, as you'll see later. Concerning the length of Mapungubwe's reign, you'll find differing dates, but around 1290 seems to be the most popular date of its collapse. Regardless, the similarities between Mapungubwe and Great Zimbabwe are noteworthy. The social structure of Mapungubwe was three-tiered. At the top of the political ladder were the chiefs or kings, who lived in stone houses high up on the hill. The second tier was occupied by their wives and associates, who lived nearby but separate. The third tier, the majority of the population, was made up of the peasants, craftspeople, and laborers who were dependent on the elite. This system in which the aristocracy lived, isolated from their subjects, is one of the earliest found in southern Africa. Thomas Huffman believes Mapungubwe and Great Zimbabwe share a common Zimbabwe culture, and that each capital had 5 components, such as a palace, a court royal wives area, a place for the followers, and a place for the guards. The similarities between the two led Hoffman to propose that Great Zimbabwe's origin lies within the older site at Mapungubwe. Mapungubwe was inhabited for only some 70 to 80 years, from about 1220 to 1290/1300. In this short time, the spatial organization continued to evolve into a distinct and new elite pattern. A stone-walled palace on the hilltop separated the leader from his family and followers, whereas other stone walling demarcated entrances to elite areas, noble housing, and boundaries of the town center. These and other similarities with Great Zimbabwe demonstrate that the elite Zimbabwe pattern originated at K2 and Mapungubwe, rather than at Great Zimbabwe itself. The traditional idea is that the Africans at Mapungubwe abandoned the site and some of the elite participated in or influenced the development at Great Zimbabwe. Despite the strong evidence of Great Zimbabwe's parentage comfortably residing in Mapungubwe, some scholars point out the issues surrounding this popular consensus. For one thing, the years of research surrounding the Mapungubwe site was investigated and interpreted with little input from the local African populace. Also, the origins discussion historically has been tainted by political motivations. Talk of reassessing the relationship between Mapungubwe and Great Zimbabwe are ongoing. Yet, the strongest evidence we have for now seem to point to the influence of Mapungubwe civilization. Another site of consideration has been a place called Mapela, that was also a major center of the overall Zimbabwe culture. Well, I'm all out, guys. Be sure to check out the other brilliant creators in the link above. If you like these videos and want to help in its continued production, consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.
This is HRap B, the End of the Bench podcast, host of the End of the Bench podcast. This is a program called Build and Destroy, where we attempt to build in the community and destroy all the lies and propaganda that surround our community. Thank you for tuning in. If you would really like to support the program, here is my cash app at the End of the Bench, THAENDOFDABENCH. If you'd like to add anything, add to the production, add to the continued excellence that I hope I'm presenting to you, please do so. That's the cash app. If you would like, $1, $10, $2, whatever you want to send, it is greatly appreciated. And as I was saying, man, look, I'm going to close the show out just plain and simple. Plain and simply. The only way we are going to survive in the United States of America as a people is to point blank period, galvanize our communities, educate ourselves on who we are and how long and the contributions that we've made and move those contributions forward, and stop attempting to just simply exist. We must start living. The only way we can live is to get involved with this government. Look, I am not a flag waving American. God bless America. America is the greatest country in the history of the world. I don't know if the United States of America is the greatest country in the history of the world, but I know one thing. 99.9% of the people that live in this country cannot pack their bags and move tomorrow. So if you are going to be here, what you need to do is learn the rules of the game, get involved in the rules of the game, and stop saying, you know what, HRap is right. Man, that was a good show, HRap. What you said was good. And start talking to your friends, start talking to your cousins, start talking to your nieces, nephews, and most importantly, the most important person you could talk to is somebody who is your junior. If you have people in their 20s going down, these are the things, these laws that these people, these wicked people in the United States of America, people like Clarence Thomas, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, people like Governor DeSantis, and people like buffoons like Governor Abbott. Yep, I said it, buffoon. Yep. I'm out here disrespecting God by calling his creations buffoons. But sorry, God, I'm going to pray when I leave. We're going to be cool. But these are the people these people are attacking you. And if you're dumb enough to believe that you black or you white, I understand. That's the way you were raised. I get it. But we talk about people who get up and go to work every day. They tricked you. They tricked my community out of vocations. Well, you don't want to be no mechanic. You don't want to be no plumber. You don't want to be no electrician. You want to go to college. Well, everybody ain't built for college. Sometimes you need to be a mechanic, and then later on in life, when you got enough bread stacked up, you'll know, oh man, I can do something else. I can open up my own shop. So let me go learn how to do this, or whatever you want to do. There's a shortage of plumbers. There's a shortage of people heating and air conditioning. There's a shortage of electricians right now. Just imagine if you'd have told you've been, instead of going to college, you'd have went to electrician school. You'd be killing it right now. But all I'm saying is this: get your immediate family, me, my people together. Then extend, you create tribes of people, your friend, your first and second cousins, your aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and then create a clan with your friend, and those two tribes create a clan. Those two clans create a nation, and then you create that community that will use the laws of the United States of America to benefit everybody in your community. With that being said, I want to send a shout out to everybody who was here, who's paying attention. Hit that like button, hit that share button. Tell a friend to tune in. I really appreciate everybody tuning in every week. Tomorrow night, me and my homeboy, a.k.a. my son, a.k.a. the sequel, a.k.a. B. Jilla, a.k.a. a whole bunch of other stuff that I ain't going to keep naming, a.k.a. sounding like a clown. But I'm having a good time. This is what I do for fun, y'all. This is how I relieve myself. We'll be on tomorrow at 8:30. We still ain't come up with anything. We'll talk about it tonight. But I want to thank the people who give me inspiration. That is Sway Calloway from Sway in the Morning, the Ghetto Boys podcast, Tariq Nasheed, Nori, Talib Kweli, Ray Grady, Zoe Williams, Corey Holcomb, Al Sharp, the Heather B, Super Dope Brother Clay Kane, as usual. Thank you. Larry Daniel Faber is my favorite radio personality in history of the world. Actually, Tom Joyner is my favorite. Larry Daniel Faber is the favorite in regards to informing people. Dr. Greg Carr, one of the most informed people in the history of the world. Karen Hunter, the person who gives me the greatest inspiration. And Joe Madison, the dude who, even before I knew who Karen Hunter was, I knew who Joe Madison was. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for supporting me all the time. Man, I've been doing this for quite a long time. I used to do sports. I had a way larger following. It was way more lucrative, but how many more times I'm going to talk about how many times LeBron James going to, whatever. Michael Jordan is better than LeBron. How many times I'm going to have that conversation? I'm going to start that show up February 1st. Not doing that no more, but I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Maybe I will talk about sports one day. This is the End of the Bench podcast. I am HRap B, in the place to be. And anybody that didn't like the things that I was saying to enlighten my peoples,
you better shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you.
And if you really didn't like it, y'all already know. I'm just gonna tell you to
sit your ass down. Sit your ass down.
And before I go, I need to find out if you really down for the people, because I'm down for the people.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We lust for that cheese, we lose sleep, dreams of that cream. We killing our teens, they down for this American dream. Them government schemes, they turning us to hustlers and fiends. We hustling trees, them politicians smuggling green. Chasing that cheese, got everybody stressed in the streets. Pardon me for speaking freely, let it breathe. Evangelists preach the congregations out of their seats. They writing them checks for tithes, now it's people can't eat. She stripping for change for school, now she giving them brains. She used to that loot, she earning, now she giving them strain. He new to this game, but hungry, so he cooking his cane. He getting that paper, but then they gave him two to the brain. It's rules to this game, but hustlers never hustle for fame. The spirit of greed is grimy, so we struggle to change. They put us in chains to take away our African names. But if we submissive and don't resist, then who do we blame? It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim, and you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't, you thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang? Killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. They gave us Obama, but that nigga was hoping for change. But Zimmerman is killing niggas and he free. Shit is crazy, babies having these babies and getting checked. But keep the child from they pop to rip his heart out his chest. Our rappers was leaders and now they in the booth and the dress. Spitting bullshit and making more but giving us less. They taking our sound and changing ours, dumbing it down. They taking our jobs and homes and they shutting us out. They taking our kids because it ain't a man in the house. They locking us down, but soon they gon' be wiping us out. They told our women they was too independent to need a man. They told our brother he was too insignificant to advance. It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim, and you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't, you thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang? Killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. It's all a game.
Get it.